Cages or wings, which do you prefer? Ask the birds. Fear or love, baby, don't say the answer. Actions speak louder, louder than ooh. They speak louder, louder than actions speak louder than.
Hello and welcome to Keen After Hours. I'm Jonathan Silverstein, the artistic director of Keen Company. We are an off-Broadway company in New York, and every Monday night at 6:30, we welcome you into our virtual office with a very special guest. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to do a land acknowledgement. So I'd like to start today's event with a land acknowledgement. We do this to recognize the long history of the territory where we live and work and its significance for the indigenous peoples who lived and continue to live here, and to demonstrate our commitment to addressing the legacy of colonialism in our work and practices. I am speaking to you today from Brooklyn, which is the traditional land of the Lenape people. Since our activities tonight are shared digitally on the internet, we'd like to acknowledge and consider the legacy of colonialism embedded within the technologies, structures, and ways of thinking we use every day. We use equipment and high-speed internet not available to many indigenous communities. Even the technologies that are central to much of the art we make leave significant carbon footprints, contributing to changing climates that disproportionately affect indigenous peoples worldwide. We invite you to join us in acknowledging this, as well as our shared responsibility to make good use of this time, and for each of us to consider our roles in reconciliation, decolonization, and allyship. We will continue this practice of land acknowledgements at all future public events, and to build on this practice in thoughtful ways so as better to engage with indigenous peoples and indigenous stories. So, before we get started, I want to welcome my cohorts for this evening and every after hours, Ashley and Billy. Come on in.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Happy after hours.
Happy after hours.
Happy after hours. What a lovely way to sort of end a Monday, which is often like kind of a hard day to get going in the week. Mm-hmm. But it always makes me feel good to see your faces.
Same.
Same here. Absolutely. Well, so, I'm very excited for our guest. I hate to cut you off, Johnny, but I'm very excited. My excitement cut you off. And I personally am ready to bring this guest on if all of us are in agreement.
I'm excited.
Amazing.
Let's do it.
Let's first see a little video of a performance that our guest was in with Keen Company a few years ago in our production of Tick, Tick, Boom.
Come to your senses. Defenses are not the way to go, and you know, or at least you knew, everything's strange, you've changed, and I don't know what to do to get through. I don't know what to do.
All right, folks, let's please welcome Tony nominee Lilli Cooper.
Hello. Hi, Keen Company.
Hi, Lilli.
Hi, Lilli.
Hello.
I could have watched that whole entire song. However, I probably would have been like a puddle of tears to start that. So maybe that might not be good.
You know, I gotta say, that is one of my favorite roles and shows I've ever done. Seriously, when people ask me that question, like, what's your favorite role you've ever played? The fact that we got to play 15 different roles in that show is so fun. It's an actor's dream. So it's just such amazing, fond memories, and two lifelong friends, more than two lifelong friends that I've made in that show. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. So Lilli, someone actually like sent us a thing, and they were like, you know, Lilli said that Tick, Tick, Boom is one of her favorite shows. It was on some sort of other Zoom thing you did, and I was like, oh, come on. And I actually went and looked at it, and I was like, she did. She said it.
That's great.
Wow, we got proof. We got verified.
Yeah.
Like, we are verified.
Wow.
So let me take a moment to introduce Lilli to all our guests. And Lilli, you know, if this is the speech I usually give at the first rehearsal, and in fact, I may have even given it that, you know, your first rehearsal, but I think it's kind of grown a little bit. So we did Tick, Tick, Boom now. Oh my gosh, I remember exactly when it was.
I was going to say
it was
exactly
4 years ago, right this second.
Wait, that is actually really crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
Wow, that feels like both yesterday and 1,000 years ago.
And you were there, weren't you there election night or the night after election?
Yeah, so the night after election night, I came to see the show because I was a replacement in the show. So I came to see it. And I remember watching the show a ton of times before the election, and it just meant something totally different that day. And it was this communal experience that everyone in the audience was having together. It was really magical and devastating and just really cathartic. Yeah. God, I remember that so well. I can't believe that was exactly 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I know. And I remember seeing you after that performance, and I remember feeling that. It was I had kind of forgotten that was, you know, one of your first experiences at Keene.
Yeah.
Wow. And that was 4 years ago. So anyways, so we did Tick, Tick, Boom 4 years ago, and we extended Tick, Tick, Boom, and we needed to replace the wonderful Sierra Renee. And so we were, of course, chatting about who to cast. And Kalari and I had this great conversation about you. And I was like, Lilli Cooper, she's a legend. She's amazing. Do you think she would do it? Would she, you know, come on to just do it for a month? And you did, and I was like, I just couldn't believe it. Plus, your manager and Kelly is just the best, and so everyone was so happy. But what I will remember most about Lilli is that you came in, and you learned the thing like within days. And I remember we did a put-in rehearsal and did the whole thing, and you were like, "Yeah, let's do this." You were not like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
that was me acting.
Then you knocked it out of the park from the very first performance, which was your dress, your preview, your everything, and you were so amazing in that role. And you and Nick had such a special chemistry that really was a beautiful thing to watch. And I don't know, ever since then, you know, you keep on doing more and more fantastic work. Tony nominee.
What?
You've just been an incredible friend to Keene. I just adore you. So welcome to After Hours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, you guys. It's always such a pleasure to see your faces and just chat and talk about everything that we love. And, you know, it's a dark, scary time in the world. And so to just gather together and talk about the joyous things is very nice. It's much needed in this moment.
One of the things we talked about is we sort of miss theater.
Because my internet's being sort of weird right now, is it?
Oh, I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
Fine.
But I feel like not being able to go to the theater means I miss seeing a lot of theater people. So it's nice every Monday to just check in with a theater person a little, you know?
Totally.
So it's kind of crazy. So Lilli, the last thing you did with us, and I'm now remembering this feels momentous too, was our Arsenic and Old Lace reading, which I believe was the 23rd of February. Is that right? Right. I mean, pretty much right before everything kind of went nuts.
It was like a week, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably 2 weeks before. I remember I was leaving to go to New Orleans for my 30th birthday right after Arsenic and Old Lace, which, by the way, I got to do with my dad. And so many wonderful people, Michael and Reg and Kathleen. And it was just like, you always put a good group of people together, I must say, Johnny. It's amazing.
It was a good group of people. That was a really fun night.
It was, and I love that play.
Yeah, it was so fun. They were so funny. And we've had several patrons say to email us when we were getting back going, saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're going to be doing things, because the last thing I saw was Arsenic and Old Lace before everything shut down."
Yeah. And was that the first, or no? Was that the only time you and your dad have performed together? Could that be true? In the same? Oh no, the only time you played father and son, or father and daughter, maybe. In a play setting. We've done concerts together before. Sure. Mm-hmm.
We've done a reading or two. Like, I did a virtual reading with him a few weeks ago where he played my dad, which was really fun.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, yeah, the first time on stage together as, relatives.
That's so funny. That's amazing.
You guys were awesome together. And I do remember asking your dad if he would do it. And he immediately was like, "To play my daughter's father?"
That's great.
Love it.
So speaking of your dad, I don't know. Actually, you can answer this however you like. But I was going to ask you about some of your early theatrical experiences, and sort of like when you kind of learned to love theater. And I know you come from a bit of a theater family. So, yeah.
Well, I have a lot of stories. I think my favorite, most kind of vivid, fond, formative memory I have is when my dad did The Life in 97, which, if you could do the math, I was 7 years old at the time. And The Life is a dark show. The Life is about the life in the 80s in New York City, hustling. My dad played a very violent and scary man.
Mm-hmm.
But as a little 7-year-old, I would go to the theater after school, which, by the way, was on the same block.
Crazy.
I would exit my elementary school on 47th Street. I'd walk a half a block to the Barrymore Theater, and I would go backstage, do my homework, take naps under his dressing station. The show was filled with all of these beautiful women who were playing sex workers.
Mm-hmm.
But still beautiful, wonderful, amazing, talented, fabulous, fierce women. And as like a little 7-year-old, I'm like looking up to all of these women like, oh, they're amazing. Meanwhile, they're in like, booty shorts and fishnets.
Right. And you're doing your math homework in the corner. Yeah.
At Lillius White. I mean, come on.
I can't.
So I'm backstage. I'm little Lily running around backstage. And I was able to like be there during the show too, which was really cool. I would sit next to the stage manager as they called the show.
Oh, wow.
I was really close to the dressers in the show. So I would run backstage into the wings and help do quick changes and hand off props like in the wings.
Uh-huh.
So that was like my first real moment in the theater and where I felt involved in it. And I think that I knew pretty much from then that I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Did you sing any of the songs like in your dad's dressing room?
Did you know the show by heart? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know the show by heart for sure. Yeah. And the funny thing is like my dad was truly the villain in the show. He played this terrible pimp, and he would, beat the crap out of women, and had this song, My Way or the Highway. And like, I would sing it as like a little 7-year-old. Actually, wait, I have this great picture of me in his costume as a little kid.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Let me try
hilarious. Sort
You
of go
could
over
tell,
your
like,
head where you just like, these are fun. Did you get the plot at 7?
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh, that's
god.
amazing.
Oh
That
my
is
god.
amazing.
Out of control.
It's so good.
The Life is a favorite show in the Keen office. I don't know if you know this, but
Big fans.
that's up there on the Keen playlist. Absolutely.
Oh, I want it to be revived so bad. Apparently, Billy Porter's directing it at City Center very soon.
Oh.
Yep.
Is that a
Mhm.
key scoop? After hours scoop.
Not a Keen scoop.
You need to be in it. It's like that's theatrical lore.
Yeah.
It would be it's an actual dream. It would be a dream to be in it.
We're willing to start a petition if necessary.
Okay, great.
So what was the first show you were in?
The first show I was ever in was Godspell in 8th grade. I sang "Oh Bless the Lord My Soul."
Ah.
I wanted really desperately to sing "Turn Back, Oh Man," but one of my best friends, Kia, got that song.
Okay.
So I ended up singing "Oh Bless the Lord My Soul," which I realized was actually better for me, like vocally. And this is a funny story. My parents both saw the show, of course, and they had never really seen me perform because I started expressing interest in the theater right around 8th grade when I went to performing arts school and did that show. Prior to that, I was super shy. I never sang. I never acted. I didn't do anything.
I'm finding this hard to believe considering we just saw a picture of you in a full sort of like Broadway themed outfit. Okay.
Sure. But it's true. I was a super shy kid.
Mhm.
So I finally kind of came out of my shell in 8th grade and started performing and started singing. And I had never had any training or anything like that. And I sang "Oh Bless the Lord My Soul." And my parents, of course, they're like, well, she's got the genes. Like, she's going to be fine. I'm sure she'll be good. Like, I'm sure she'll be good. And they describe it so well. Like, I remember, like, they talk about seeing the show and being like, okay, her number's coming up. And me, like, opening my mouth and then be like, oh, okay. Yeah, you got it. Like, not that they were surprised, but it was almost like okay, good. We're good. We're good.
That's amazing.
And what was your first professional job? Because I believe that must have been young as well.
Yeah. Okay. But my first professional job was a Broadway show.
Crazy.
I know.
Crazy.
It was nuts.
What was the journey from Godspell to there?
So I went to PPAS, Professional Performing Arts School, in 8th grade. And then I not transferred, but I went to LaGuardia High School, which is where both of my older brothers went. So it felt kind of like legacy that I would end up there. I had always dreamed of going there. I was a drama major. Back in the day, they were very like conservatory oriented, where you learn first and then you go out into the field and audition. Like, you don't audition while you're in. But agents and managers come and see shows at LaGuardia and like hand you their cards. And I did hair. I played Dion at my sophomore year in hair. And I got a card from this fabulous agent, my first ever agent, Dina Bogner. Shout out to her, forever love. And she sent me on this random audition. She was like, there's this reading of a new musical. We don't really know anything about it, but they're looking for teenagers. So do you want to audition for this? And it was my first professional audition. My mom came with me because I was 15.
Sure.
Legally, she had to. They gave me Mama Who Bore Me. This show, by the way, is Spring Awakening, if I hadn't mentioned that before. They gave me Mama Who Bore Me and some sides. And then I remember in the room, Duncan Sheik and Kim Grigsby, the music director, asked me if I'd be willing to learn the song The Dark I Know Well. And so I got pulled into a room with Duncan Sheik to teach me a song from the show when I was 15. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. So they taught me the song at the audition. And then I found out weeks later, I'd sort of forgotten about it. I found out weeks later that they had cast the roles that I was auditioning for. And so they actually added an additional female part so that I could be in the show.
I did not know that
Which was
backstory.
really cool.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you read the original Frank Wiedekind Spring Awakening, there's no Anna in the play. They added that character, and that's who I played off Broadway in the workshop. And then once we transferred to off Broadway, and then subsequently Broadway, I kind of stepped up into the role of Marta and played, sang Dark I Know Well. So that was my first professional gig. It was a reading of a new musical while I was a sophomore in high school.
Did everyone in your high school just like totally hate you, or did they not? I guess it took a second for Spring Awakening to fully form. So, yeah,
it did. It took a while. You know, at first nobody knew what it was. It was a reading. It was an off-Broadway show, tiny theater at the Atlantic, which is very well known, you know, but not amongst like 15-year-olds who go to LaGuardia.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, nobody really knew what it was. They were just like, "You're the girl who like is not at school all the time. Like, where are you?"
Right.
Like, I would, you know, I would be gone for 2 months at a time, and then come back, and people would be like, "Who's this girl?" So, you know, it wasn't until I performed on the Tonys that I felt a shift.
Sure.
You know, it felt a little different. Like I went back to school and I was like, okay, this feels weird now.
Because if there's one thing all of the high schoolers at LaGuardia are watching, it's the Tonys.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's so
how crazy. So your first professional job, you end up on Broadway. I mean, like, did you have some like good stories about being a teenager on Broadway?
Yeah. Okay. So being a teenager on Broadway, the thing is crazy is, of course, you're like, this is the coolest thing in the world. I have so much money. I'm so rich. I can buy all the gum I want.
Sure.
And maybe the blockbuster. Like you can do whatever you want, and it's amazing. And at the same time, you're like, but I really want a boyfriend, and I really want to go to graduation, and I really want to go to prom. You know, a teenager. So I was living like this double life of wanting to delve in and take advantage of both sides of this life that I was living, because I was going to high school during the day and doing the show at night, which I was the only person in the cast that was doing that.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of us were in school, but I was the only person who was from New York City and went to public high school during the day. Everybody else was either homeschooled or took a break, took like a semester off or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was really the only one doing double duty like that.
So once again, you're doing math homework at a dressing room station.
Oh, literally, Ashley. Like, okay, so the format of the show is it starts with Mama Who Bore Me, and the girls go out, and then there's the Bitch of Living, which is the only 5-minute break that the girls get in the show. We're all on stage the entire time.
Crazy.
I remember in that 5-minute break, I would run up to the 5th floor dressing room to do homework.
You're like, this is a solid 5 minutes I can carve out.
Get in here.
I mean, maybe like 4 minutes with the stairs, but you know.
What did the other girls do during those 5 minutes? Do you know?
Most often we would stand in the wings and watch Bitch of Living. That was one of our rituals. We really loved watching that number.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is just a crazy, that's just craziness.
Another fun story. It's so ridiculous when I think back about it. I'm also like, how did I have the energy to do that? I can't fathom. Broadway shows are hard.
Yeah.
They're very hard.
Especially that show is intense. Yeah.
So intense. So imagine waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and having to go to school and then doing your homework and blah, 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 all of the above. One of, I think, the most ironic, funny scenarios that I was in was that because I was in a drama school, we had these sort of credentials to accomplish in order to get our drama diploma, right? And so I had to do a senior drama festival. I had to be in a play at my school. And I wanted to be in a play at my school because I wanted to have that experience that all of my friends were having. Sure. So I had to take a vacation from my Broadway show to do a play at my high school.
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. What was the play? Could you
Yeah.
just have picked the original Spring Awakening and do that? Call it a
Right.
day.
That would have been great. The play was Dracula, which
Sure.
was written by my drama teacher,
Uh-huh.
literally. And I played Van Helsing.
Oh, at least you
So-
got the. At least you walked into the lead though. That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you graduate during your time at Spring Awakening? Did you go to high school during your time? Okay.
I did. I took a personal day to go to graduation.
Sure. Sure. Classic personal day.
Wow. And
yeah, it's wild. It's so crazy.
that's
I took my
just awesome.
SATs one day before a matinee.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I should
Oh
write a
my
memoir about that time. It was
Yeah.
wild.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Now, were your brothers actors? So your brothers were actors as well at this time.
Not really at the time, funnily enough. They had both gone to LaGuardia, and they both kind of just took a break from performing for a while. My oldest brother lived in Japan for a year. He was traveling a lot. My middle brother is a guitarist and an artist, and so he found his creative outlet kind of other ways. And it wasn't until like the past decade or so that we've like circled back to all performing at the same time, which has been like a really magical moment for all three of us to be performing together in some instances, but just at the same time. Yeah.
Have you performed together?
We have. We call ourselves the Cooper Clan.
Love it.
Me and my dad and my brothers have done a few concerts together. We did a Lincoln Center American Songbook Series concert, and we performed at Joe's Pub. And yeah, so I think some more things might eventually be in the works for us to sing together. It's really fun. We just we have a great time.
Awesome.
It'd be amazing if you were all in the life at City Center. I mean,
We're putting it into the world.
put that into the universe, you know?
I'm like, yeah, I'm secreting that into the world.
Seriously.
One thing we like to ask everyone, because oftentimes there are a lot of young people who are watching our after hours. If you have any either advice to share or things that you might tell your younger self that you wish you knew.
Yeah, totally. I think it's crazy. There are a lot of things I wish I could have told my younger self. I think primarily I wish that I could have had the confidence in myself that I deserved to have. I wish that I could look in the mirror and see like the beautiful, talented woman that I am and was. I would tell little Lilli that she's fierce and fabulous and talented and wonderful and could take over the world, and she'll get nominated for a Tony one day, and she'll be on a TV show with Audrey McDonald, and she'll, originate 2 roles on Broadway back to back. Like, I wish that she had the confidence to know that. So I would tell that to young people, young aspiring people. I always say, it is the most important thing, I think, in a long career, to maintain great relationships with people and to be the person that people want to work with. Not just once, but several times. Because being brought back into a room proves that you will continue to work and that people will want to work with you. We work and live so intimately with one another, and we breathe on each other, and we have to be with each other for so many hours a day in a dark theater for 12 hours, and we eat meals together, and sometimes we live in the same cities and travel to the same cities. You want to be the person that people want to do that with. So, in other words, don't be assholes. Don't be assholes. Be collaborative. Take notes. Listen. Learn. Appreciate other people's skills that you may not have. Grow and learn from them. Aspire. Like, surround yourself with people who are better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying, but it's so great. Like, Tootsie, for example, was a very intimidating, scary moment for me because it was like it felt kind of like my first adult show, my first grown-up show.
Oh, interesting.
And I was surrounded by some veterans, Tony nominees, Tony winners, comedians. And I was just like little old Lilli in the room, kind of terrified a little bit, but like had to hide it. And it was so great to be surrounded by people who were funnier than me because it just made me want to be funnier.
Sure.
And that's how you look at not only competition, but at otherness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's how you look at people who are different than you. It's like, ooh, I love that thing that she has in her. I want to figure out what that is, and I want to steal it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just constantly about learning from other people and the people that you share the room with. That's something that I've learned you like have to learn it pretty fast when you're in this industry. And it's a really valuable thing to know early on. And then lastly, I would say, I think it's so important to just be brutally honest with yourself in many ways, whether it's your type or your ability or the fact that this industry is like so hard and you're going to hear 7 million no's before you hear a yes. And you have to be okay with that. And you have to develop a thick skin. And if you can't, deal with that, then like maybe you got to figure something else out because you're destined to not succeed if you just expect everything to be handed to you. Yeah, that was me blabbering on, but those are my words of advice.
Well, we got to the Johnny Tears Up section of After Hours, which is very important. And you got us there really quickly, so that's great.
It is true. It is true. I mean, you were so amazing in Tootsie. And I think one of the things I loved about that show is the acting was so good. And it was a musical in which I freaking loved the book scenes. And that's not always the case.
Amazing book.
And they were like so fucking funny. And like, you could have just, I mean, it was just, what an amazing ensemble.
Oh yeah. And what was so amazing about it was that you had no other option than to be so good because everyone else in that show was so fucking good.
It's an incredible cast.
Yeah. The cast is incredible. The book is delicious. It's just so, I mean, his book is musical. Robert Horn is brilliant. He's one of the funniest human beings I've ever known. And he didn't just care about jokes and landing laughs, which he cared a lot about, let's be real. He cared about developing characters and developing characters that people cared about and supported and believed in and, wanted to succeed. And that was such a beautifully collaborative moment, was Robert Horn coming to the table, asking me, asking Santino, asking anybody else in the cast, what do you think your character would say? Does this make sense? How do we work this? How do we make this work? How do we make this funnier? How do we make this more sincere? It's just so incredible to have a creative team that you feel a part of the development of the show with. And I think that's why it succeeded in the way that it did. How I think every person in their character was so perfect, because he developed, him and Scott Ellis and Yazbek and everybody developed those characters for the actors playing them. And that's really kind of how to do it.
Your song killed me.
I was just about to say, that's one of the best musical theater songs of the last 10 years. It's a perfect song.
I agree.
So good.
I auditioned with that song, and I'm not.
Did they take you over and like teach it to you in the side of the room?
Yeah.
So that you
Not quite. I did
And it was tongue in cheek for some reason.
yeah, it's on.
I don't know. And I heard that song and I was like, this is so real and so relatable and so honest and so me. I remember describing it to my mom and describing the characters to my mom, and she was like, well, you don't have to act much. Like that's just go in there and just be you. And that's kind of what I did. And I guess it worked.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if I remember being emotionally involved in the Jessica Lange character in the movie, but I will say I was absolutely emotionally involved for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's one of the biggest goals that we had in creating the show. One of the biggest changes that they wanted to make from the movie was making sure that the Julie character, first of all, had, depth and had a personality and had faults and qualities that people can relate to, and had some autonomy over her life. And I think we really succeeded in that. And I think that's what made it different, maybe even better than the movie.
Very different.
How long were you with Tootsie pre-Broadway? Was it a long development process?
I just did a reading just before the Chicago production.
Oh, okay.
So we did an out of town, in Chicago the summer before we opened. So I guess all together, tail to end, probably like 2.5 years or so.
Wow.
So
we should give a quick shout out to Reed Ridgely, who's our general manager, who I'm not sure if you've met yet. And he's a big Tootsie fan. And we used to clean the office every Friday when we were all there together. And per his request, we always played the Tootsie soundtrack. So you were really with us every Friday for like a
Aww. Aww, that makes me so happy.
So rumor has it that you are actually, or that you just completed a project. Maybe that is going to be on the television screen.
Yeah, it is. TV's like happening, you guys.
Crazy.
I know, it's crazy. And it's wonderful because it's so great to, be working with other humans in a space with other humans. Sorry, I'm like choking on something. Maybe it's my Prosecco.
You're kind of you should do more of it than just to double check.
Yeah, exactly. I just received. Yes, I just flew down to New Orleans 2 weeks ago to shoot an episode of NCIS New Orleans. And the COVID regulations are wild and safe. They feel really safe, and people are working and getting back to work and creating television, and it's great. And it felt like such a kind of shot of adrenaline straight to the veins to be back, reading a script with other actors. So it was a really, really great experience. And I was so lucky that I got to do it. I felt very, very blessed in this time because I know we're all struggling. And who knows when we're going to get back on stage.
Yeah. Is there any little tidbit you want to tell us about sort of like what how you guys filmed, or like how they're dealing with COVID? I think probably a lot of people are curious to know like what they must be doing in order to make it safe.
Yeah, I think it was probably even more extreme since I had to travel. I actually had to fly. So I got most often productions are trying to cast locally for the most part. A lot of New York productions are casting locally. I was one of maybe 3 out-of-town actors on that episode in New Orleans. And I got tested prior to flying, the day I landed, and then every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on set.
Wow.
So Yeah, it was just like, it's regimented, it's regulated, it's really smart. They have a driver come and pick you up, you know, whenever you go to set, you're just kind of quarantined in a hotel. We were able to walk around and stuff. It wasn't like we couldn't leave our hotel room,
Sure.
but you know, everybody got tested constantly. We all wore masks. Everybody wears masks until the second we start filming. Then just actors take their masks off. Everybody had, like, all the different departments. This was really interesting. There's almost new terminology being used in television now because of the protocols. So each department has a pod that they kind of live in when we're not all actively together, like being touched up or whatever. The makeup department's over in their pod and the ADs are in their pod and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, everybody kind of like runs on set, does everything they need to do, and then like runs back to their pods. And then it's masks off, action, cut, masks immediately on. So it's wild. Yeah, it's pretty wild. But I mean, it's working.
Yeah.
They have it pretty down pack at this point, it's great because it can be done.
Yeah.
I think it takes a little bit longer probably, which is hard to believe because TV takes forever, but it takes a little bit longer because, you know, it takes time to kind of like get all the people off set before we start filming and all that stuff, and all the transportation and everything. But they're getting the job done and it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Very proud of the union I think the union really nailed it. Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bless you. It's good people are working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we all
Do you know when the episode's going to air?
I don't. I want to say it's going to be the last week of November. It's on Sundays. NCIS New Orleans airs on Sundays on CBS. I want to say it's going to be the last week in November. But I will know closer to the date. Follow me on Instagram.
Well, you know, I'm saying the Keen Company Instagram will give you a shout out when it airs. Don't you worry.
That's actually really quick. So what, you filmed that, 2 weeks ago, a week ago?
Oh yeah, the turnaround is crazy. I think especially with those kinds of procedural shows, their turnaround is just wild. And they're constantly recording 2 episodes at once, which I never knew. Wow. But they were recording 2 episodes while I was there.
Oh, crazy.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
NCIS, though, they've been on for a long time. They got it figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I will watch your NCIS or NCS. NCS.
NCIS.
NCIS. Oh, so it is NCIS. I've got to say I'm a Law and Order junkie.
That's fair.
But
that's fair.
You know, but they're all procedurals. I love them. I love the formula. Yeah. It's the best.
It's kind of what we all need right now, like just a cozy, good TV show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I've been watching a lot of TV, so I'm glad that there's like new TV coming out because at some point we're just gonna run out of television. Yeah. What would have happened?
What have you been watching lately?
Okay, so I just started watching. I'm so terrible with this, but it's Nicole Kidman on HBO.
Oh yes.
What's it called?
Little Lies? No.
No,
there's a new Nicole Kidman on HBO show.
It's a new.
I don't know about it.
Yeah, it's HBO Max. I know HBO Max. It's kind of like a murder mystery thing. It's real good. It's really good.
It's by David Kelly.
The Undoing. I was about to be like the backwards, the reversal, something. Yeah, the Undoing. Redos. I watched that, and then you could yell. I gotta be honest. I have been very into reality television recently.
Okay, good. Now we're talking.
Can I tell you my hit lists?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
Top, Married at First Sight.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
Oh, not normally a top tier bracket, but it's a great top.
Top. Close
God
second.
bless.
Close second. 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, that's what I kind of expected. I'm intrigued why the other one makes the top choice.
You know, it's just like these people making wild choices that you can't fathom ever making, and just kind of watching their lives unfold wildly. And this season takes place right before and then into the pandemic. So it's complete strangers getting married, then living with each other through a pandemic.
I think you're selling me on it.
It's Married at First Sight?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm sold.
This most recent season was in New Orleans. And then they have a spinoff of Married at First Sight in Australia, which is like that one's a little raunchier because they all end up sleeping with each other. Like it's dramatic. Like couples cross couples. Like it's a lot.
That's drama.
It's drama. It's very dramatic.
So did you have a chance while you were in New Orleans to kind of like peek into the set
the top
and say hello?
I wish. Oh, I was hoping that I would like see couples walk down the street, but no, I didn't.
There wasn't an NCIS and Married at First Sight crossover episode that we should be plugging. Yeah.
Oh, dream.
If only. If only.
I have had several people recommend to me, what is the British one that is like Bachelor in Paradise, but it's not? Oh, Love Island? Have you heard about this? Yeah.
Yeah, Love Island, the little I've seen of it is insane. Yeah.
Is that on Netflix?
Maybe.
I think it's Netflix. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that the one where it's just like wildly attractive people who aren't allowed to sleep with each other?
I think so.
No,
and for some reason they're on a beach.
No, that's a different show. That one is where like the crux of the show is like you win it if you don't sleep with each other.
Yeah.
What is that called?
Oh.
I don't know what it's called, but that one is also on Netflix. That one's nuts. I'm looking this up.
That's ridiculous.
For our viewers.
Yeah, we need
Too hot to handle. Yeah, too hot to handle.
Too hot to handle. Oh my God.
I feel like someone
wow.
picked that title and then back-formed the actual plot of the show.
That's true. Reality TV producers just like buy sayings, just buy the right sayings, and then figure it out afterwards.
And then plot later.
Yeah,
exactly. That is.
But
so
you know what?
funny.
There's no guilty pleasures. There's no guilt right now. You just got to dive into these TV shows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And have ice cream. And have ice cream when you need it.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Ashley, what do you think about breaking out the Keen Question Bowl?
Oh, would you like some Keen Question Bowl questions? Well. This is the patented Keen Question Bowl. It may seem like just a normal green mixing bowl to you, but don't worry. All right, let's see. All right, you tell me when, Lily. Good.
You're really mixing it up.
Okay, cake or pie?
Pie, because I love a fruity dessert. You know, I gotta go for fruit over chocolate.
Really?
I do. It's wild.
So
I do.
like a chocolate pie even, you're like, no, thank you.
Oh, no. That sounds strange to me.
No, you want like cherry, apple, peach.
Yeah. Peach cobbler all day, every day.
Well, sure.
The best.
Over like a molten lava, I'd honestly pick a peach cobbler, to be honest.
Now, would you add the ice cream? Would you go a la mode?
Hell yeah.
Always add the ice
I'm not a monster.
Yeah, of course. Always add the ice cream. Now this is really vital, actually. This is a real, like, take your time.
Okay.
Which Golden Girl do you most identify with? It's tough. You can phone a friend. These two guys are really up in their Golden Girls.
Well,
It's tough.
That's
It's
hard.
hard.
It's weird that I've actually never thought about it.
Yeah.
I kind of
You can
think,
pick like one with another one rising if you want.
Like your signs.
what are your guys? Billy and Johnny, what are yours?
Yeah.
I would say I'm a Sophia with a bit of a Blanche rising. I think.
I think, and this, we had to name our computers after Golden Girls, and
our office, all of the computers are named after Golden Girls.
And so I kind of had to take, and I think it's okay though. Dorothy.
Sorry, we're unleashing what sounds like a real like slight to correct.
Well, it just sort of made sense as the leader to be Dorothy, and I think I understand what goes on with Dorothy. But I think I might be more of a cross between, I think I'm like a Blanche, Dorothy, and Betty White. Who's Betty White?
Rose.
Well,
that's not fair, Johnny. You can't just pick all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, why can't I remember that? What's the actress's name who plays Dorothy?
B. Arthur.
B. Arthur.
B. Arthur and I played the same role.
Whoa.
We both played Lucy in Three Penny Opera. So I got to go with Dorothy.
You got to go with Dorothy.
All right. I think you'd actually be that makes sense to me.
Also, with just that's a solid thing. You're 1 degree separation from B. Arthur. That's great.
How wild is that? Isn't that crazy? I think Cosmo.
You could play the title role in the stage adaptation of Maude.
Yeah.
Cosmo.
Total Blanche.
Cosmo is beautiful.
Thank you. He knows it. He knows it. Don't you know it?
How old is Cosmo?
Mine.
Oh, so cute.
Okay.
Cosmo's about 1.5 years, and then my other dog Dublin is down here. He's 9 years old.
Oh. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I think it depends actually on whether or not I'm working. If I'm working, I'm definitely a night owl because you kind of have to be.
Yeah.
But when I'm not working, I like to solidly like go to bed at 11.
Really?
And wake.
Yeah. When do you wake up then?
If I go to bed at 11, I'm probably not asleep until like midnight. So I'll wake up around 8 or 9.
Okay. You're not like up with the
older
sunrise.
I get, the less sleep I need.
Yeah.
No, God, no. I'm not like a 6 o'clock riser. No, I couldn't do that. That's too much. That's way too much.
Okay, we sort of already
Ashley, I hate to change the subject, but as a PSA, I want to congratulate you in front of the Keen After Hours audience that you will be working as a poll worker tomorrow. Speaking of waking up early.
Yes, I'll be working as a poll worker tomorrow. It's my first time, and I was actually just sort of complaining to these guys that I had to be there at 5, which would be fine, except I just remembered that the subway is not running overnight. So it's not running 1 to 4 or 1 to 5. So I'll be on the bus.
Wow.
If anyone wants to say hello, if you're in an uptown bus at 3 a.m., I'll see you there. Now, we should have covered this, but do you have any best advice you've ever been given?
I've ever been given. Oh, you know what? One that I didn't mention that is advice that I got from my dad that I really kind of learned over the years from my dad is to know your worth and to know your bottom line. To know what to say no to, and that saying no is very valuable. And it can be really scary and terrifying, especially early on in your career. I think at every moment in your career it can be terrifying, but it's so important, like just as peace of mind, and to hold your value and your worth at the level that you want to hold it to, if that makes sense.
That's actually now I've got to like go off and really think about my life and whether I've lived that or not. That's a really like
It's good advice.
That's good advice. Yeah. Your dad is awesome. I hope he's watching, and you raised a wonderful daughter, and you're also incredibly talented yourself.
He's all right. I taught him everything he knows.
Yeah, sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Lilli. It was just great to see you.
It's so good to see you too. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
I'm so glad. And thank you for coming back, almost exactly 4 years later. This feels like a crazy, like meant to be reunion moment.
Yeah, we'll have to do it another 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Yes, but hopefully the energy will be completely different.
Totally different. It'll be in person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's we'll all cross our fingers for a safe few days and some good things happening.
Seriously.
Awesome.
It's scary. Viewers, all the viewers out there, vote. Make sure everybody votes. If you haven't voted yet, vote tomorrow. Tell all your friends and family to vote.
You may even see Ashley DeGiorgi at the polls.
You can come see me at the polls. At all of them. I'm just taking a tour of all of them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lilli.
She's stopping by every single poll.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Lilli. Bye. The amazing Lilli Cooper.
She's amazing.
Amazing.
How could your first professional job be a Broadway show?
Well, when you give such good advice like Lilli Cooper, she knows what she's doing.
And I love some backstage stories about the life.
I think the life has come up maybe every episode of Keen After Hours. So
right. Somehow, I don't know, but man, crazy.
There have been some common threads. I think this whole thing of not people auditioning for things when they weren't allowed to in programs and then getting cast anyways and then becoming superstars is kind of a thread that we've heard a little bit about.
Is that that's the big takeaway of Keen After Hours? We're promoting everyone, all young people.
Yeah, who needs school?
Yeah. We've also heard a bit about Godspell, so that's another.
That's come up several times.
That has come up several times.
On our viewers' after hours bingo cards that we sent out.
We're gonna make it. Whoever's updating our wiki, you can put a new section.
I think Dreamgirls has been hit several times.
Yeah. Really, we're just building the next couple seasons.
Yeah.
I've been taking notes.
Good.
So, obviously tomorrow is a big day. I think we can repeat Lilli's encouragement to vote if you have not voted. What else is coming up this week? Let's say towards the end of the week.
Oh,
sure.
I seem to think that there's a new episode of 1993 coming out.
Oh,
you are correct.
Yes.
Episode 2. Available everywhere you listen to your podcasts. And if you missed the first episode, it is still there. You are able to listen to it forever.
Yeah.
And it's really a treat. It really is fantastic. And then next week on After Hours, our guest is a friend of Keen, an incredible composer, lyricist, and book writer, author of Ordinary Days. We have Adam Guan joining us, which we're so excited. The Adam Guan.
Wow.
That is a week from today at 6:30.
I'm really hoping he defied someone and auditioned for something early.
Yeah, first off.
Or he was in Godspell. I'll take either one.
I wonder if that has to go on the intake form or something.
Yeah.
I like the idea that we have an intake form for the Keen After Hours guests. We do a lot of paperwork here. Love the paperwork.
Hey, a lot of paperwork. Well,
Instead of COVID screening, we have Godspell screening. Yeah.
Well, thank you all for spending your Monday night with us. It's always good to see you two, and it's always good to see you all out there. And just wishing everyone wonderful things coming up for you this week. So, as I always say, I look forward to seeing you at the virtual theater soon.
Hi, everyone.
Bye, guys.